Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Try. My name's Travis, and we've got another 7 questions interview today. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I've got one of the best American Ironman athletes to ever do it in our sport. He's been ranked as high as number 14 in the world. He debuted at Kona with a 10th place finish and remarkably got 4th place at the Ironman World Champs in St. George last year. You might have recently seen him battling it out with Lionel Sanders in a sprint finish at 70.3 Boulder, and I'm stoked to hear all about it. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us for today's interview, and I can't wait to get to know you a bit better.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so I can't wait to dive into 70.3 Boulder, but first, can you tell the audience a bit about what you were dealing with in the lead up? I know you were going to do 70.3 Oceanside and Texas, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so I was going to do Oceanside then in Texas, and on March 21st, I had some kidney issues that sent me to the ER, and went there. CT scans, doctors didn't find any stones, but they found a congenital narrowing of the ureter. So the doctor said like it needs to have surgery. Something needs to get fixed here, but let's try to dilate it first and then put a stent in, and then the dilation perforates the ureter, and then it's supposed to heal around the stent. And so went through that procedure a week later. And then late and that evening, I was in so much pain, just absolute more pain than what sent me to the ER in the initial part. And then I was in the hospital for 2 nights after that, and I mean, it was excruciating. I was didn't think that anything was going to get fixed, and I thought my career was over. Just yeah, it was really awful, and so obviously had to pull out of those 2 races, and was then I opted for surgery to get the proper surgery,
Okay.
and I had it scheduled for May 16th, and as I was leading up to it, I didn't really have any pain, and I started to feel pretty good. I could feel my kidney swell and unswell. I just have like some low back QL tightness, and or that's what it felt like, but it's actually my
Okay.
kidney swelling up. Um, but I didn't have any pain, and the doc said that I could go 2 years, 2 years of this issue before kidney damage, long term kidney damage sets in.
Okay.
So I talked to him. I got a second opinion, got a third opinion, and everything was in line. So I was able to push off surgery. And that decision, that was at the end of, um, I guess, early May. And yeah, pushed that off. Signed up for Boulder, and I just wanted to get back racing. I just wanted to. I was just exercising. I was exercising aimlessly, even because I just was like, all right, well, I have to have surgery.
Mm,
Going to be out for 5 weeks with nothing. Doc said I'm going to have a bag hanging off my left hip.
wow.
Like I'm going to be pretty well out of it. And so I was just, I'd ride every once in a while, I'd swim every once in a while. Swimming was the hardest, but running every once in a while, but nothing focused. Just kind of aimlessly doing stuff. But then once I made that decision, it just totally switched, and I was like, all right, this is sweet. I went to team camp, and got some good training in there, got to see the team, get some good media coverage, and um, yeah, now I'm racing Coeur d'Alene in 2 weeks.
Perfect. That's amazing. I remember listening to another podcast with you on, and you said coming into 70.3 Oceanside in Texas, you were producing some of the best numbers you'd seen before in preseason. Tell us a bit about that and how hard was it to get the news and have all this go on before those races?
Yeah, it was a great spring. It was a great off season, and it was just years of stacking um, fitness on top of each other, and that's just what is happening. I'm
Mm,
36 years old, but it doesn't feel like it. I feel like to still have like the best spring as I've ever had is phenomenal, and then to all of a sudden have news like this that I'm out, it was just like, what was it all for? And
yeah.
it was really tough, and I'm definitely not back to where I was. But
Okay.
hopefully with CDA coming up, and then I have all summer to build up for Nice. But it's yeah, it's tough. But it also gives me confidence that I had it. Should be able to get it back, and next year should be even better. Just another year stacked on to another year of all the past years. So it's it was tough, but definitely gives me something to look forward to.
Okay, so I'm sure everybody's dying to hear about this Boulder race. I mean, I was glued to watching the finish, and to be honest, the whole run between you, Lionel, and Matt Sharp, it was fantastic. So we'll save the best for last, but take us through the beginning of the race and how it went for you, even leading up, and then the swim, bike, and run.
Yeah, the training. I was at team camp and got in some good sessions, and I came back. So with jet lag, with the flight, I think it was 25 hours door to door.
Where was it again?
I had 9 in Mallorca,
Okay.
Spain, and then I was just so blown. Like I had 9 nights. I was like, okay, I have 9 nights before Boulder, at altitude because we live here, and every single day was just awful, absolutely awful. And it took so long. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to race. Like it took me so long to recover from all of it. But fortunately, the day before the race, I started to feel a little bit better. And I mean, it's all just training, life, jet lag, travel fatigue, all of that just compounded and just took so long to get ready for. But swim was standard third pack swim. Unfortunately, I feel like every time I go swim, I'm going to be better than the last, but still where I'm at. Something needs to click. But coming out of there, I just trying to get going on the bike in those first miles are tough. Like I am just pinning myself and not seeing the numbers that I should be having, or what I feel reflected. Maybe that's just more the Ironman athlete in me, but just don't have that spike, just really able to grab it and pin it. So it took me a while to start ticking over, probably 10 miles, which was more or less the top of St. Vrain. So then once at the top of St. Vrain, just absolutely pinned it down there. And I know that descent pretty well. So it was just drilling it and moving pretty well. So I ended up doing a full lap of the 2-loop course at that point. So the top of St. Vrain all the way back to the bottom of St. Vrain, I finally caught Lionel and Sharpie and Appo at that point. And so I was able to sit on Lionel's wheel into T2. And I had no idea what placement it was. I didn't know what place we were until we got into transition, and you see Sam Pike, the only one sitting there. Like, oh shit, all right, pretty good. All right, I'll take it. So but what's nice about a 2-loop run course is that, and especially at altitude, and I've raced this course before, and you just have to really respect that first loop, and that's what I did. I started out with Sharpie and Lionel, and then just kind of let them go because it wasn't blistering the pace. It was just like, it doesn't need to be this fast. And I just didn't know, I didn't know where my fitness was. I registered for this race 3 weeks before. So it's just like, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I really had to respect the altitude, the course, and just the distance. And fortunately, by the time I caught up to them on the second lap coming up Monarch, what's supposed to happen is that when you pass people, they're supposed to go behind you and you're supposed to go ahead of them. But with Lionel, it doesn't work that way. When you catch up to them, he stays with you and makes you work for it the entire time. And coming down at maybe 2 miles left, I tried to just test him and just put in a dig and didn't even phase him. So I backed off really quickly, and I just wanted to see what he had at that moment. And then we were rounding it into the res, and it was a left-hand turn into the gravel, which he was on my left side, so he had the inside corner. And then it was a right-hand turn, sharp right hand, sharp left hand, sharp left hand. And I was on the right side, so I took that right-hand turn hoping to get a leg up on him, and then jump in front of him and get that left turn in front, and then the following left turn in front as well. But that right hand turn, he was right next to me. He must have put in an even harder dig just to stay foil with me, and then he had the inside left hand and the inside left hand, and through the finish chute just had 2 steps on me. So it was, yeah, really tough. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a sprinter. I guess it goes back to what I said at the start of that bike. Maybe it's just the Ironman in me. But yeah, I mean, to have a sprint with Lionel, he's one of the best in the world. It's quite the honor. And just I had, again, no idea what to expect. So happy with the placement, happy with a decent run split at the time. And the bike split was pretty good. So got some confidence.
Fantastic. It seems like Lionel's a really hard one to beat on the sprint, so don't feel too bad there. And just some insight there, when you were running alongside him, were you checking your heart rate at all, or was it just going all out? Were you even trying to pace it or just trying to match him? Were you guys exchanging words or anything like that?
Oh, no, I don't think any words were said. And no, you can't check your heart rate. You had 3 miles left. Like, this is the race. You have to do what you have to do. If your heart rate's telling you one thing, you're just gonna be like, well, that's it. Like, this is where your heart rate's at. This is where your pace is at. This is how bad it hurts. This is everything. Is you just have to deal with it. And I'm sure he was doing the same thing. He was cramping. He was having a side stitch, and so quite the struggle. But you just have to do what you got to do.
That's pretty fun. Okay, so before we get into what's next and Coeur d'Alene and upcoming Nice, tell me a bit about your background. Start from the beginning. How did you get into triathlon? And how'd you get to this level?
Well, our family, we grew up in a small town, and we wrestled, played baseball, we played football, and that was basically it. We didn't have swimming offered at our school. We didn't have soccer. We didn't have a lot of these other big sports that other schools have. And it wasn't until, I didn't start swimming until I was 21. And my brother was really into mountain biking, and he pulled out a old Trek 1200 down tube shifter frame out of the dumpster, and he built it up. He worked at a bike shop, and he gave it to me. He just wanted people to ride with, so he wanted me to ride, so he gave it to me. And I'd been running to lose some weight from college, and he gave me the bike, and he signed me up for an indoor triathlon and told me to start swimming. So that's kind of how it all stemmed from there. And I really liked it. I really liked riding. Just being able to explore. Swimming has always been awful, but same with running. It's just, you can just get so much bang for your buck. You just go out the door and burn a handful of calories and come back, and you're done really quickly. So it's just nice to be able to do multiple things, and be able to ride with my brother, and just had a lot of fun with it. And he was mountain bike racing. I did triathlons. My little brother, he started doing ultra marathons, and so it's we never came from any of this background. This all stemmed from later in life, and here we are.
Wow. What was the moment you thought you could go pro, make it pro? You were getting those good results.
I had no idea that you could be pro. I didn't know that triathlon was a professional sport. I just thought it was a hobby, an activity, and you just raced. And even when I raced Lifetime Fitness in Minneapolis, like, I was in the non-pro wave as an age grouper, but I still didn't look at those pros as like, oh my gosh, these guys are professional athletes. I just thought, like, I don't know, it just never registered. And we never grew up like that. We were never like, okay, you need a scholarship, you need a sports scholarship in order to go to school. Like, no one in our school ever did that. Everyone is such a blue collar town, and everyone did sports, but it was never your way out. You always had to work. And you had the big four, the football, baseball, hockey, and basketball in the U.S., but that was kind of it. You never thought that you could make money or be a professional in an endurance sport. It really didn't even register. And then once I moved out to Colorado to go to school, and I met my wife, Xana, and she was telling me like, oh, you get free race entries when you're pro. I'm like, oh, sweet. I don't have to pay for a race entry. So yeah, then turned pro, and it just kind of, again, started snowballing. But I was going to school full time. I was working, training, just having fun. And yeah, then after graduating, again, I was still working, but still training and kind of finding the knack for all this, and still having good results. And then this was a few years ago, but I had to finally make that switch. Like, okay, I need to stop working. Like, I can actually do something with this. I don't know how many years ago that was, but yeah, it took a while. Even though I was professional and I was racing and getting good results, still wasn't my life at the time. But getting on the team, I'm on BMC Pro Tri Team, and that was definitely, click, like, oh wow, okay, this is cool. Like, people believe in me, and I had to really make the effort to be full on.
Oh, it's amazing. Cool story. And what were you working as before triathlon?
Just handyman, everything. Yeah, contractor, electrician, landscaper, everything. And yeah, a lot of manual labor. So trying to train as a triathlete while doing manual labor, those two things don't mix.
No.
So, but yeah, it was what I was doing. Didn't know anything different.
That's fair. Are you so glad for triathlon to be out of that? That sounds miserable to a lot of people, that manual labor. Is it something you actually enjoy? I think you still do it, right?
Yeah, still do. Yeah, I got the little step counter on, the Wahoo. And just yesterday so the day after the race, got over 23,000 steps just doing the yard work. So it's just, yeah, I know steps aren't everything, but it is. I was moving. I was on my feet all day long yesterday because it had to get done. But it's gratifying. Absolutely. Yeah. Remodeling, building something, you see the work be done instantly. Whereas in triathlon, you go out for a hard bike ride, you come back more destroyed than when you left. So it's like, it doesn't seem like you built anything. Whereas when you build a wall, you see the wall. It's that type of stuff is really gratifying.
Oh, right on. That's pretty cool. Okay, so a little quick question here. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about triathlon? It can be something small, like how many times you have to change in a day, or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, my favorite thing is just what you can eat. You can just eat a lot. Within reason, but yeah, you're just constantly eating, and you really don't feel so guilty about eating. So you just keep bringing in food, especially in high volume weeks. But the worst thing is waking up early, just not setting that alarm. That's tough, but it's something that you got to do. And there's so many times that you have to start a workout and you do not want to. It's really, really, really hard. It kind of ruins the sport, because I really love cycling, and I really love running, and I wish I could just trail run every day, but you can't. And sometimes you ache, and it just hurts, and but you have to force yourself to do it, and it takes away the fun, and it makes it more of a job, which it is a job. And we have a limited time to do this, but so what I hate is those forced sessions that take away the fun of the sport, but aren't necessary.
Oh, that's a good insight. Thank you. All right, into the serious stuff now. 2022 is your best result in St. George. Tell us about how you took that momentum through the rest of the year into Kona. What happened at Kona? And so maybe what you're going to do differently going into Nice this year. But first, take us from St. George and that race.
Oh yeah, St. George's was great. I really, I mean, I didn't take any momentum. You're like, oh, how did you take that momentum there? No, the rest of the season is shit. Um, but yeah, St. George is great. I mean, being top American is, I think, pretty cool, and because we have a lot of good athletes in the U.S. And I think a lot of the good guys there performed well as well. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty good placement. But yeah, the rest of the year was really crap. But going into Kona, I had GI issues, and
Mm.
a couple days before, and it nothing was digesting. For some reason, I still felt like I had to finish Kona, which, as I'm sitting here, I don't regret it. But as I continued, I got to the top of Palani and then headed down the Queen Cave to continue the run. I regretted every step of that I took towards the energy lap. Because once I got down to the end, it's like, well, there's only one way to get back. But that was awful. But yeah, I had GI issues. Nothing was absorbing, nothing was digesting. And as I was trying to force more in because I knew what was going wrong, nothing, I mean, no matter how long I walked while taking in calories and fluids, it just was not helping. So it just sat in my stomach. And yeah, it's really awful. And so that's, I mean, yeah, I know it's a gamble. Oh, you're not in a closed loop in your house all the time, so you have to. It's just the gamble of racing and traveling. But yeah, going into knees, just yeah, just make sure all the food, all the nutrition, everything is in the days leading up are clean. Nothing is going to mess you up, and hope for the best.
All right. Talk us through when you heard the news about Kona changing into Nice earlier this year, what your thoughts were on that and how you think it might affect your race.
Yeah, it doesn't affect my race. It didn't affect me one bit. I just think it's just logistically for the masses of triathletes out there, it's a massive headache. So I feel for them, but for me, it's a non-issue. No, cool. Now I have an excuse to go to France. However, I'm not qualified, and hopefully I'll get that at CDA. But yeah, it didn't bother me any.
Great. All right. So what's the plan for CDA? How is training going to be in the next couple of weeks leading into that? And yeah, what are you hoping for other than the Kona slot? Do you have a specific time that you're looking for, or anything like that?
Oh, I don't have a time. I think time in triathlon is quite irrelevant. It's whoever crosses the finish line first, that's your time.
Yes.
And that's what matters. And yeah, no, I hope to win. And I have to recover from Boulder. Just physiologically just fatigued right now. And 70.3 at altitude, especially coming down to a sprint finish with Lionel. It's not like I coasted in the second lap. It was, I was on the gas the entire time. So it's definitely quite the hole I dug for myself. So first I need to recover, and the training, everything behaves in the barn. So there's nothing more I can do, and just recover and stay sharp, stay focused, stay healthy. Don't get sick. I got a 3-year-old running around. He's got 1 more week of school before he's going to stay home. And I have a baby being born on June 21st. So I have a lot of moving parts in my life right now. So just trying to manage all of that and get to Coeur d'Alene healthy.
Amazing. I don't know how you do it all. How do you balance it all? That was one of my next questions. How do you balance all of that?
I don't know. Just hanging on by the edge of my seat, dude. I mean, my wife is amazing. Xana is absolutely amazing. She owns her own real estate firm, and she is absolutely crushing it. And she does not stop. She's 9 months pregnant. We got a toddler running around. I race train full time. It's so like we're making it work. my mom's going to come out and help in the short term with the new baby, so that's going to be good. And I mean, we manage. We have our deal. I take care of Xana. Xana takes care of Cruz. So
Cool.
I do all the cooking, and she, for the most part, she drops them off, picks them up. I chip in where I can. My schedule is quite random. Her schedule is as equally random as in real estate, but it's going well. Somehow we make it work.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That sounds like teamwork, makes it happen for you. Awesome. And it sounds like with BMC too, and having that team as, was a big deal for you as well. And
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, no, it's really good. And it's just good to know that they have confidence in me. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I can look on, is knowing that I have their support. And it's, reassuring.
That's awesome. All right. Okay. So last question. I just saw Zoom's telling me I'm running out of time here, but if you could fix one thing in triathlon, what would it be? That's the hot question, because you said you were the handyman. So if you could fix one thing in triathlon, what would it be?
Well, not just because of Hamburg, but Hamburg is a good example, but it's that lead motorcade. And it does such a disadvantage for the good triathletes coming up from the back. Like, this isn't a swim bike race. This is a triathlon. So they put so much attention on the front swimmers, lead cyclists, and so they put the motorcade up there, and they're just getting towed along. And to say like, oh, they're let's use Hamburg for an example, aside from the awful death that happened there, but they were just lined up 3 meters to the left of the cyclist, and had the row of cyclists on the right side of the road, and just all of that air that they're moving, like, that is such a draft for anyone who is in that lead pack. If you're second through 8/10th wheel, how many other athletes are there? They're just getting towed along, and that is absolutely unfair for the swimmers or the triathletes that are coming up from the back, and who are also, like, for example, or Sam and Lionel, like, just the podium that was at Boulder, we all came out not in the lead pack, and look, we were on the podium. So it's just very unfair, and I think that they could just have the first lead vehicle be 40 meters ahead minimum, and zoom in with the camera if that's what you want. And so I think they need to get rid of that lead motorcade, and because it's doing everyone else in the back such a disservice. And so if I could fix that, that's what I'll do.
All right. Have you, following on from that real quick, have you felt a little bit of the safety concerns that some other pros have mentioned as well with that?
No, dude, at this race over the weekend, coming down St. Vrain, it's a 2-loop course. So on the second loop, we're bunched up with all the age groupers. They had westbound traffic open. So it was all the cyclists, or all the athletes, were going eastbound, and you have age groupers going 3 abreast, and then we're trying to pass them, and then you have a motorcycle on one side, and then you just zip all the way through. Apple got a penalty, which he does not draft, and it was not cool that they got one, because it was in such a convoluted area that there was nothing that he could do, and they gave him a blue card, which is uncalled for, and that absolutely ruined his race for something that he had no control over. And so it's and he was trying to be safe. Like, we were told that we're going to get disqualified if you cross that center line, and it's dangerous. So I don't know. I mean, you can't close roads. Like, it's just, you're going to get so much backlash from the community. So I don't know what the right answer is. But you think that over the years of all the athletes complaining and how many races are constantly going on, that they would have a better system figured out.
for sure. I totally agree. And as a
Yeah.
spectator watching, I remember seeing quite a few close moments in that race, which was quite unfortunate to see, especially after Hamburg. But thank you for speaking up on it. I think that's a super important thing to not forget about and keep talking about for a long time to come. So I'm excited to see how Challenge Roth goes too, and how they make the changes that they have promised. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, nothing will happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate your time. It's been a great conversation, and one that I was really looking forward to for a while now. And yeah, that race with Lionel was special for us all to watch. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you at Coeur d'Alene and the rest of your season. So,
thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Chris. All right, take care.